Wait, what? That was my initial reaction upon seeing a statistic that Caffeine AI posted. Now, what did they say? They say how one person allegedly created 51 apps. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, but why is that pretty cool? Well, it's because I think that right there kind of highlights the capabilities of Caffeine AI, because a lot of people like to tell me that no one really cares about it, no one really bothers with it or whatever. But I think this, if anything, showcases the somewhat frequency and sort of kind of, I think, quantity of apps that could be done through Caffeine AI. Now, is those 51 apps made by a single individual right there going to be the best of the best quality of all time? I don't know about that, right? I mean, it's very debatable. But at the same time, when it comes to this, I think it showcases that there is at least that capability. That's the thing. A lot of developers out there, sometimes they want to know that something is capable. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be able to use it to its full kind of potential, but at least at the same time, they just want to know sometimes it exists. It's like, for instance, I know some people out there who buy off-road cars, right? Like, those cars that can go off-road, like a Jeep. The people that I know that own those cars, do they really use it off-roading? No, actually, they don't, right? But they just want to know that it has those hypothetical capabilities. That's the thing. It's just kind of like this as well when it comes to Caffeine AI, which is allegedly a self-running apps platform. People like to say, no one's really going to care about something like this. Well, some developers may care. Take into consideration that if, let's say, there's a way for AI to help developers build applications or something like that, isn't that a pretty cool thing? However, it doesn't necessarily mean that a developer would automatically care about something like that. Not every single developer may want to even use it in the first place, but there's at least that, I guess, option there. It's like, for instance, there's the Santa Cruz bicycle, which I think is really awesome, by the way. But is every single individual out there gonna buy a Santa Cruz bicycle? Probably not. But for the ones that do, it just becomes a pretty cool thing. At least it exists, that option, right? That's just the way I take a look at it. As of right now, this is not a time when it's necessarily a moment where a lot of people want to build apps anyways. The space isn't doing the best. So still seeing something like this, I think showcases something when it comes to Caffeine AI, and also I think just a testament to what Dfinity has done overall. Now keep in mind, right, people like to say, well, if one person made 51 apps, like, why is that even a big deal? Like, who cares? However, imagine maybe moving forward, if there's developers out there that might want to test different iterations, it's hypothetically a little bit possible. In some other cases, it's pretty difficult to make one and then have to test it and then make another and then kind of do it again. It's just sometimes a little bit difficult. But if, let's say, a developer could test out many different iterations right there, I think that would only be a net positive. And something like Caffeine AI, allegedly, we just saw the capabilities of something like that. Now, is building like 50 apps approximately kind of a little bit too much? Maybe. But if, let's say, a developer wants to do 5 or 10 or something like that to just kind of test it out, it would be pretty cool, right? At least the hypothetical possibility is there. So again, I don't necessarily think that this is a random or useless statistic. I think it showcases that it's actually pretty impressive, and I think it's a pretty amazing milestone actually at the end of the day. And also something that I think is pretty cool is that when it comes to the case of Caffeine AI, even though the timing of the launch wasn't necessarily the best, quote unquote, because of course the space wasn't doing the best, but at the same time, in my opinion, for when it launched, it was actually pretty awesome in terms of the attention and kind of the adoption that we saw. It's not bad considering the current conditions and also considering the conditions it was when it first launched, right? When it comes to Caffeine AI. So that's pretty commendable, in my opinion. Imagine if the market hypothetically picks up again. Imagine if the adoption is already kind of like roughly around here, visually, hypothetically. With the sentiment being the way it is, imagine what would happen if the sentiment was way better. Would the use case be a lot more? It wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. So this is one of the major reasons why I haven't given up when it comes to ICP. I'm still holding, I'm still waiting. Now granted though, still down by quite a lot, but at the same time, if I could dollar cost average at lower points, if I could dollar cost average at below $3, I have zero complaints. I mean, Maybe ICP, people like to tell me, oh, it hypothetically may never return to almost $19, which we saw in 2024. Maybe it doesn't return to that, but if it just goes to half of that, again, I'm already going to Sizzler. That's the way I take a look at it. I mean, there's only one place to go at that point, right? My favorite restaurant of all time, which is Sizzler. It may not be the most luxurious restaurant out there, but it's the most best one personally for me. That's the way I view it. It's like, for instance, ICP reminds me of Sizzler. Why? Well, it's because ICP is currently ranked 50th in the world in terms of market cap. Not the biggest project out there, not the smallest. Is it the best project out there of all time? Some people arguably might say no, but I still like it. It's kind of like Sizzler. Is it on the same level as Ruth's Chris? Probably not. However, it's not necessarily like just a random restaurant either, right? So it's not the most fancy, but it's not like the most not fancy restaurant either. It just kind of reminds me of ICP, somewhere a little bit in the middle. But I do like that because personally for me, I am looking for projects out there that don't have such a big market cap, but not have such a small one either. I like something a little bit in between, something that's not too massive, not too small, because if I believe in a project that's so massive, sometimes the room to hypothetically do something is a little bit not much, right? Arguably in some cases. But if I take a look at a project that's way too small, like let's say a microcap, sure, it could maybe do very cool things if the market were to recover, but at the same time, it's like a microcap. What is it really going to do? In some cases, we don't really know. A couple may make it, but for some that do, a lot don't. That's the way I view it. So I like more of these, I guess, middle ground type of projects where it's not too massive, but it's not too small either. Something like ICP, which doesn't have a small market cap, right? I mean, it's around 1.3 billion basically. It's not the biggest, but it's not the smallest either. So I do like that. Again, it just kind of reminds me of Sizzler. I like my restaurants like Sizzler, and I like my projects like ICP, even though I don't only hold ICP, much like I don't only just want to go to Sizzler, but I'm saying I still like Sizzler and I still like ICP. Now, again, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but I'm just saying. So overall, as of right now, I'm still waiting. I'm still staying patient. We'll wait and see what happens when it comes to the space overall, but regardless, I'll be waiting. That's the way I take a look at it. So in the past 24 hours, around a 4% recovery when it comes to ICP. I thought it was pretty cool, but we'll wait and see what happens. Regardless, though, I'm still waiting. I don't treat it like a short-term thing anyways, so yeah, we'll wait and see what happens, but I'll be sure to make more updates when it comes to ICP. So hopefully you all stay tuned for that. I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a very nice day. It's Willie the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.